So we're talking about the brand new Apple iPhone 13.
Yes.
Specifically its cinematic mode. Now, you are a very highly respected YouTuber, and I know you've dabbled in cinematography, Jordan, but I decided you guys got along so well last time. I invited your twin brother, Gordon, back. He's a working cinematographer. He's going to have a lot of input on this. So, look, there he is now. Hey,
Chris?
Gordon, thank you so much for coming by, helping us out.
Jordan. Hey, Gordon.
You guys are such good friends. I'll let you catch up.
All right, so I guess we're talking about the iPhone today. Let me guess, you're one of those sheeple who drank the Apple Kool-Aid, who thinks that your little phone is going to replace an entire crew of highly skilled professionals because Apple told you so. Gordon, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with you. I'll see you at Thanksgiving. Come on, man. You know I'm not going to be there for Thanksgiving. I'm working on that Spike Jones Home Depot ad. Welcome back, DP Review TV viewers. It looks like I'm going to be flying solo this episode because Gordon's just the worst and Chris is an Android shooter. But I want to talk about why I'm really excited about the new iPhone 13. Now, looking online, it seems like a lot of people are disappointed, talking about how it's an incremental improvement, but I don't think that's the case at all, and today I want to talk about why. Now, I'm not going to be talking about all the features that excite me on these phones, just the ones that are going to matter if you're using the phone to shoot photos and record video. So the absolute biggest upgrade for me is that we're getting the larger sensor with your normal lens that we previously saw on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. And like a lot of you, I'm not made of Pro Max kind of money, so having access to that throughout the entire line is a really big upgrade. Now, that larger sensor, as you'd expect, is going to really benefit you in low light. And don't forget, we also have Apple's ProRes format, and you get a lot more flexibility with the larger sensor in terms of bringing up your shadows, for example, in contrasty scenes. And don't forget, we're not stacking a whole bunch of images when we're shooting video, so you'll see dramatically improved video low light performance as well. Now, if you're a high roller who can move up to the Pro or the Pro Max, you'll be happy to know that they have the telephoto lens as well. Now, previously it was closer to like a normal lens photographically, but now it's a 77mm equivalent, so it's more like a classic portrait focal length. Now, it is a slower lens, f2.8, and a smaller sensor, so it's not going to be great in low light, but if you're a little further away from your subject, it's great to have that option now. All right, let's talk about the headline feature of all the iPhone 13s, which is that they now have their cinematic mode. Now, what this is doing is giving you simulated shallow depth of field, but while recording video. And I'm not talking about like some bullshit zoom filter where it tries to knock the background out and it looks terrible. This is actually going to use the depth map from the multiple lenses to simulate what shallow depth of field would look like on a proper camera. Now, this has been working incredibly well in their portrait mode for stills. We knew at some point they were going to start bringing this onto video, and they've finally done that. This is going to let you do focus pulls while recording video, but also, very interestingly, you'll be able to choose the point of focus after the video has been recorded. Now think about it, it's applying a depth map to a whole ton of images at 30 frames per second. It has to be incredibly demanding on the processor. I do think it's really weird that they're doing 30 frames per second for cinematic mode. You'd think they'd maybe start at 24 frames per second where it looks a little more cinematic and might be easier on the processor. I'm not sure exactly why they went with that. I do also think they're sticking with 1080p because any issues where it's not totally cloning out things like hair or translucent glass where the portrait mode tends to have a lot of problems, I think that'll make it a lot less evident if the video isn't super detailed. Now, looking at Apple's samples, I do see some real potential issues here in that you can actually see the lens breathe when they're pulling focus from one subject to another. And we know, especially with the larger sensor in this camera, that it will actually have to be focused in roughly the right area when the video is recording. So there's a couple problems I can see. First of all, yeah, that lens breathing is super distracting, really draws attention to the focus pulls, not terribly cinematic. But also, if you have a subject that's out of focus when you're recording the video, there's going to be no way for you to pull focus to it in post. So I do think the objects that you're pulling focus between need to be roughly in the same plane. So I can see some potential limitations with this mode, but remember, so many people scoffed when we first saw those ugly, horrible cutouts in portrait mode in our smartphones, and now it's evolved to the point where it is very convincing and actually quite pleasing, and I expect we're going to see the exact same thing with video. This technology is going to constantly improve to the point where you're going to be able to get some truly cinematic video on a phone. I just don't know if we're going to be there quite yet with the iPhone 13s. The other major announcement is that the iPhones are now going to record ProRes video, and I was like, yes, ProRes, a professional video codec, and then I actually stopped and thought about it for a minute, and I don't know if it makes a ton of sense. I mean, yes, it is an industry standard format, and it's really easy on your computer to edit those files, but it takes up a huge amount of storage space on a device without removable media. That could be a real problem. And honestly, Apple's H.265 compression is so efficient and the quality is so good. I can't think of many reasons why I would need to go over to ProRes unless I'm using an older machine that can't really handle H.265 compression. But if you've got like one of the new Apple M1 machines or something, I don't think you're ever going to use this feature. So I actually think this is a really exciting update for iPhone users, and I'm not the only one. If you jump on dpreview.com, Rishi has written a very detailed article about why he's excited for that cinematic mode. For me though, biggest upgrade is still getting that larger sensor. Not a lot of people got iPhone 12 Pro Maxes before. It was a very expensive phone. Having that democratized through the whole lineup is really, really cool. But despite what a bunch of uptight, pretentious filmmakers like Gordon are saying all over the internet, I'm really curious about what I'm going to be able to achieve with the new cinematic mode. I'm looking forward to really putting that through its paces, which is why I've pre-ordered one of the new iPhone 13s, but you're going to have to subscribe if you want to find out which model and how well it performed, because I will be doing a full review in the future. In the meantime, make sure that you comment and tell me if I'm crazy for liking these new phones, if I'm a sheeple. I'm sure we'll see lots of that. But I will see you again with more DP Review TV very soon.
You're definitely an Apple eating sheeple.